Welcome back to AgriTalk from World Pork Expo at the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines. Overcast, kind of a cool day, good weather here for folks coming out, and they're expecting a big crowd over the 3 days of World Pork Expo. Joining me now is Bill Luckey. He is from Columbus, Nebraska, a board member with the National Pork Producers Council. We're going to be talking to Bill about several topics today, but first we want to talk about a bill that is part of the Farm Bill discussion going on right now in Washington, D.C., and that is the HSUS, United Egg Producers Bill, that basically sets federal standards for egg-laying hens for the poultry industry. But there's a lot of concern, as we have often said, a lot of concern in other segments of animal agriculture about the precedent this bill would set. Bill, let's get into that. Thank you for joining us. It is an important bill, even though it is for the poultry industry. It is an important bill for the pork industry as well.
Oh, definitely, because once they get their foot in the door as making this method of restricting production practices, once they get it started, they're going to just keep trying it. And they have it started now in the poultry industry, and they'll just work themselves into the pork side or beef side and just try regulating all types of production practices that we may have. And it's very important for us to stand together and to get this put down.
Now, we hear from folks that are supporting it in the poultry industry, and they're saying, hey, this is our industry. Why are you interfering or trying to stop something that we're trying to do in our own industry?
Well, the poultry industry isn't 100% behind it. There's different segments of the poultry industry, and there's parts of them that are very much against it also. And we just don't want to see a government mandate being put forth. Let the marketplace dictate where production practices should go, because as industries we have the ability to change and to modify ourselves to meet the consumer demands, and that's what we want to see. Is we'll meet those consumer demands if they're willing to pay for them. If they really want them that bad, we can make our production systems work to accommodate their needs.
And federal standards, federal mandates takes away that flexibility for the industry.
It definitely does. Anytime you have a mandate, all of a sudden everybody has to do the same thing. Right now, its choice is what's very important for all of our producers, because some people have the expertise of producing animals one way, other ones have more expertise the other way. It's very important for our producers to have that choice, but it's almost more important that our consumers have that choice. They can choose which products they want. If they can afford the high-priced one, or their income justifies them spending more for food, let them pay for it. And the person who has limited income, it's lets them to be able to put food on their table for their family. So it's just keeping food affordable, and giving choices not only to producers but also to our consumers.
We will talk more a little bit later about keeping food affordable, but back to this issue, it's really not, some might consider it to be, but it's really not a big stretch to think that if this bill passes, that eventually, and probably not that far down the line, that HSUS and others will work to try to get similar things done in the pork industry or the beef industry or whatever it may be.
Definitely. When you look at track records, whether it be in ballot initiatives, they just keep going from one state to another state. Well, this would just be the same thing of just going from another industry to another industry. Once they find out that if this would work, they just keep it going. And that's why all of agriculture really, or a lot of commodity groups, are very much against this whole practice of regulating our industry.
We can debate, and there is a debate about what's the best practices, whether it's for hens or pigs or whatever it may be. So that debate is ongoing. As you said, that evolves and changes happen. But when you start setting rigid standards, that kind of limits debate right there. I mean, you have to go one way or no way.
Exactly. And also, if you look at the research side of it, we're always evolving, improving our situations or improving our production practices, and all of a sudden we have to do it one way. What's the incentive to improve? We're going to always be modifying, doing what's best for our animals, take the best care that we possibly can. This process evolved over 30-some years, and it evolved from basically outdoor production, and there's some practices that in a pen gestation that aren't very, they're not what we like to see all the time. So each practice has their disadvantages and disadvantages, and we have to be able to have the flexibility to move about and do what's right for the animal.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We've heard that there is actually some support for this bill, and maybe strong support. So it'll be a critical week this week in the Senate.
It'll be a very critical week, and I think the more we can inform people, our Congress, our people in Congress, we have to get out there and make our voice heard that this would be a detriment to all of agriculture.
All right, Bill, thanks. We'll talk more a little bit later about keeping food affordable. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bill Luckey, pork producer from Columbus, Nebraska, member of the National Pork Producers Council Board. All right, much more to come. We have more issues to talk about on this whole issue about what production practices should be used to produce pork, and what about the pressure being brought to bear on suppliers. We'll talk about it next on AgriTalk.